Hi everybody, my name is Vanessa and I live in a van and her name is Treasure.
Right now, while you're watching this video, thousands of Black Americans are sleeping in vans parked outside your local Walmart. They're not on vacation. They're not living the hashtag van life Instagram dream. They're surviving a housing crisis that specifically targets our community. Here's what nobody tells you. A used cargo van costs less than 2 months' rent. And for many Black families priced out of neighborhoods they've lived in for generations, that van represents something more than transportation. It represents dignity, privacy, a locked door between you and the streets. The 2008 housing crash didn't affect everyone equally. Black families lost homes at twice the rate of white families. Many never recovered. They went from homeownership to homelessness overnight, and that van in the driveway became the only option left. This isn't a story about adventure. This is about survival and the ingenuity it takes to transform a metal box into a home warm enough to survive winter. Let's talk about how it actually works. Choosing the right van. Not all vans are created equal, and if you're Black and living in your vehicle, the wrong choice doesn't just mean discomfort, it means police harassment, tickets you can't afford, and attention that could cost you everything. Here's the first rule experienced van dwellers know. White vans win every single time. Why? Because a white Ford E-Series or Chevy Express looks exactly like a contractor's vehicle. Plumber van, electrician van, the kind that belongs parked anywhere. Police drive right past without a second glance, but show up in a bright red van with custom wheels. That's a neon sign screaming for investigation. And when you're Black, any interaction with police carries risk most people don't have to calculate. The Ford E-Series sits at the top of most lists because it offers 6 feet of standing room inside. That matters more than you think. Try crouching for 20 minutes while getting dressed in winter. Your back will file complaints your body can't afford. Now here's something that surprises people. High-mileage diesel engines get chosen over low-mileage gas engines almost always. Sounds backwards, right? But diesel engines routinely hit 300,000 miles with basic oil changes. A gas engine at 150,000 is already middle-aged. A diesel at that mileage is just getting warmed up. Then there's the window situation. Windowless panel vans beat passenger vans every single time. Fewer windows means better insulation, more privacy, less condensation. Each window is basically a hole in your wall letting heat escape. And here's the absolute deal breaker. Rust on the frame. Not the body, the frame. Surface rust on doors can be managed, but structural rust underneath means that van could literally collapse while you're sleeping inside it. A used cargo van runs anywhere from $3,000 to $8,000. That's 2 months of rent in most American cities. 2 months. But unlike rent, you own it. Nobody can evict you from property you own. That psychological shift matters when everything else feels out of control. The insulation battle. Here's the thing about cold. It doesn't just make you uncomfortable, it kills people. And in a metal box with no insulation, you're basically sleeping inside a refrigerator. Every winter, Black homeless individuals die from exposure in cities across America. The statistics don't always make the news, but the reality is brutal. Without proper insulation, a van becomes a death trap when temperatures drop below freezing. The first line of defense is Reflectix. This stuff looks like bubble wrap covered in tin foil, and it costs about $1 per square foot. Van dwellers staple it to every single surface inside. Walls, ceiling, even the doors. The foil reflects your body heat right back at you instead of letting it escape through the metal. But Reflectix alone won't save you from a Minnesota winter or a Chicago cold snap. That's where wool blankets come in. $15 at any thrift store gets you enough to cover one wall. Hang them everywhere. They trap air pockets, dampen sound, and make your van feel less like a scene from a crime show. Now here's something most people get wrong. They insulate the walls first. Big mistake. Cold ground steals heat way faster than cold air does. Your floor needs insulation before anything else. Windows are another problem entirely. Glass is basically a hole in your insulation. The solution? Foam board cut to fit each window, covered with black fabric on the outside. From the street, the van looks empty. From inside, you've just eliminated your biggest heat leak. Professional van builders use expensive spray foam for everything. Black homeless dwellers achieve nearly identical results using free cardboard from grocery stores. Layer it thick enough, and cardboard performs surprisingly well. It's about resourcefulness, not resources. The payoff for all this work is significant. A properly insulated van stays 30 degrees warmer than outside temperature using nothing but your own body heat. But insulation only slows heat loss. What happens when that's not enough? The heating dilemma. Here's where van living gets dangerous. And I'm not talking about parking in the wrong neighborhood. Heat sources inside a metal box can kill you faster than the cold ever would. Mr. Buddy propane heaters dominate the van-dwelling world for good reason. They burn clean enough for indoor use, produce serious warmth, and cost around $40 at any hardware store. But here's the catch. Indoor safe doesn't mean seal yourself in a tin can and blast it all night safe. Carbon monoxide detectors are non-negotiable. Mount them at sleeping height, not near the ceiling. Why? Carbon monoxide weighs almost exactly the same as regular air. It doesn't rise like smoke, it just hovers right where your face is while you're sleeping. Every year, Black families die from carbon monoxide poisoning in vehicles. It's preventable. But it requires knowledge most people don't have when they first start living this way. Then there's the Chinese diesel heater revolution. These $150 units tap directly into the van's fuel tank and pump heat all night long for literal pennies. Some van dwellers call them life changers, others call them fire starters. The difference usually comes down to proper installation. Electric blankets offer the safest option. Plug one into a small battery system and you're warm without any combustion happening inside your bedroom. The 1-inch rule saves lives. Crack a window 1 inch while running any heater. You won't lose much warmth, but you will keep breathing until morning. Kerosene heaters? Hard pass. They dump moisture into the air like a humidifier on steroids. 2 weeks later, you've got black mold growing behind your insulation. Your van starts smelling like a forgotten gym locker. For Black van dwellers, health. Issues from improper heating don't just mean discomfort. They mean medical bills you can't pay, emergency room visits that raise questions, and potential involvement with social services that could take your children. The stakes are higher. The margin for error is smaller. That's the reality. Creating a bedroom that works. You've got insulation and heat. But here's a question nobody asks until their back gives out. Where exactly are you sleeping? Most van dwellers build platform beds about 18 inches off the floor. Not for comfort, for storage. That space underneath holds everything you own. Clothes, canned food, tools, extra blankets. Your bedroom is also your closet, pantry, and garage. Here's a trick that took too many people too long to figure out. A full-size mattress doesn't fit most vans, but cut 6 inches off the length, and suddenly it slides right in with room for a small walkway. Mattress stores throw away perfectly good foam that's been returned. Just ask. For Black folks, this requires overcoming a psychological barrier. We're taught not to ask for handouts, not to appear needy. But survival requires swallowing pride. Memory foam feels luxurious, but there's a catch. It pulls moisture from your body while you sleep. Stick it directly on plywood, and you'll wake up to mold within weeks. The solution? Drill ventilation holes throughout the platform. Dozens of them. Air circulation saves your mattress and your lungs. Sleeping bags beat blankets every single time. A bag rated for 20 degrees Fahrenheit weighs maybe 3 pounds. To match that warmth with blankets, you'd need a stack heavy enough to pin you down. Here's something clever. Always sleep with your head toward the front of the van. Cold air sinks. It pools near those big rear doors. Your feet can handle cold better than your face can. But the oldest trick? Hot water bottles. Fill one at any gas station bathroom, tuck it by your feet, and you've got 6 hours of free warmth. A comfortable bed matters more than you think, because when you can actually sleep, everything else becomes manageable. Your job performance improves, your mental health stabilizes, your ability to plan for the future returns. The parking game finding a good van means nothing if you get towed at 2 in the morning. And for Black van dwellers, the parking situation carries extra weight. Studies show that Black motorists are more likely to be stopped, questioned, and ticketed than white motorists for the same behaviors. That reality extends to van living. A white person sleeping in a van might get a wellness check. A black person might get handcuffs. Walmart parking lots remain the gold standard. About 70% of locations allow overnight stays, though individual managers can shut that down. The trick: park near the RVs if any are there. Safety in numbers. But here's what most people miss. Hospital parking structures are basically invisible. Security exists, but they're watching for different problems. Nobody questions a van in a hospital lot. People sleep in their cars waiting for family members all the time. You blend right in. Plus, those cameras actually protect your vehicle from break-ins. Industrial areas become ghost towns after 6 p.m. warehouses. Manufacturing plants, business parks, workers leave, you arrive. Simple as that. Just be gone before the morning shift shows up with their coffee and questions. The real secret? Rotation. 5 to 7 spots minimum. Never the same place twice in 1 week. Neighbors notice patterns faster than you think. That white van parked every Tuesday night? Someone's calling the cops by week 3. Timing matters more than location sometimes. Arrive after 10 p.m., leave before 7. a.m. most neighborhood watch types are asleep during those windows. You're basically a ghost with wheels. And this surprised many. Churches often say yes when you just ask. Show up to a Sunday service, introduce yourself to the pastor, explain your situation. Many congregations consider it ministry. One person I spoke with got permission at 3 different churches, rotated between them, and never had a problem. But for black folks, this requires navigating predominantly white spaces that may not be welcoming. It requires vulnerability in spaces that haven't always been safe. The emotional labor is real. The bathroom reality. Let's talk about the thing nobody wants to bring up, the bathroom situation. Because you can insulate your van perfectly, install the best heater money can buy, but eventually nature calls. And at 3 in the morning, it's calling collect. The 5-gallon bucket toilet sounds gross until you actually use one. Line it with a trash bag, throw in some kitty litter, and you've got a functional toilet that handles nighttime emergencies without forcing you outside in freezing weather. Change the bag daily, problem solved. But here's where it gets interesting. Planet Fitness memberships cost $25 monthly and provide unlimited showers at thousands of locations across the country. That's less than $1 a day for hot water, mirrors, and actual toilets. Some van dwellers hit the gym at 6 a.m., shower, then head to work. Nobody suspects a thing. For black professionals trying to maintain employment while living in a van, this routine becomes essential. You can't show up to work looking houseless. The bias is real. The consequences are immediate. Truck stops work too. Showers run $12 to $15. But here's a hack that seasoned van dwellers swear by. Buy diesel fuel, and many stations throw in a free shower credit. Fill up your tank and your hygiene needs simultaneously. Between showers, baby wipes become your best friend. 2 or 3 daily handles a full-body cleanup. Veterans of van life call it a bird bath in a package. And let's not forget public libraries. Free restrooms, climate control, Wi-Fi. They're basically community centers that happen to have books. For black van dwellers, libraries represent something more. A space where you can exist without suspicion, without harassment, without constantly proving you belong. Cooking on the move. Here's the thing about cooking in a van. You've got about 20 square feet of total space. That's smaller than most bathrooms. And somehow, you need to make actual meals. Single-burner butane stoves changed everything for van dwellers. $20 at any Asian grocery store. One $2 fuel canister lasts 8 hours of cooking. But here's the rule. Nobody breaks. Cooking happens with both doors wide open. Always. Grease buildup inside an enclosed van turns walls sticky within weeks, and fire risk in a space filled with blankets and foam insulation, that's not a risk. That's a guarantee waiting to happen. Canned foods become your best friend for a different reason. No refrigeration needed. And during stealth situations when you can't open doors or make noise, cold Chef Boyardee straight from the can. Not. Glamorous, but neither is starving. What about keeping things cold? A small cooler with frozen water bottles provides 3 days of refrigeration between ice refills. Gas stations sell ice for $2, cheaper than any mini fridge, and it doesn't drain your battery. The real money saver? Rice and beans. Complete protein for under $1 per meal when bought in bulk. Boring, sure, but you know what's more boring? Being hungry. Here's something clever. Many van dwellers hit up soup kitchens not just for one meal, but to prep food for days. Get 3 containers of stew, store them in your cooler, eat well all week. Resourceful thinking, not charity dependence. For Black families, navigating soup kitchens and food banks requires overcoming stereotypes. The judgment is real. The looks are pointed. But survival requires prioritizing need over pride. Power and electricity. All this cooking and eating creates another challenge. You need electricity for lights. You need to charge phones. And you definitely can't run an extension cord to nowhere. Deep cycle marine batteries are the workhorses here, not car batteries. Car batteries dump all their power at once to start an engine. Marine batteries release energy slowly over days. One good one costs around $150 and stores enough juice to charge phones and run LED lights for 5 days straight without driving a single mile. Solar panels mounted flat on the roof generate roughly 100 watts daily. That's enough for basic electronics, and nobody even notices they're up there. The panel just looks like a roof vent from street level. But what happens when you connect the wrong batteries? Disaster. You charge your phone all night, wake up, and the van won't start. Dead. In a Walmart parking lot at 6 a.m. with security walking towards you. Battery isolators prevent this nightmare. They let the alternator charge both batteries while driving, then completely disconnect them when the engine stops. Your house battery can drain to zero and the starting battery stays full. Costs about $40. Worth every penny. USB-powered LED strips use less electricity than a single phone charger. You could light your entire van for 8 hours on the same power it takes to charge an iPhone twice. Public libraries become free charging stations that also happen to have books and air conditioning. During winter, van dwellers spend entire afternoons there, charging everything they own. Here's a trick for cloudy weeks. Running the engine 30 minutes daily keeps both batteries healthy. Just park somewhere safe, read a book, and let the alternator do its job. Security and safety. Living in a van means everything you own sits in one metal box. And that box, it's a target. For Black van dwellers, security concerns multiply. You're vulnerable to theft, police harassment, and hate crimes that don't always make the news. First line of defense, a $30 steering wheel club. Looks old school, almost embarrassing. But thieves want easy jobs. They see that bright red chunk of metal, they move on to the next car. Kill switches take things further. A hidden toggle under the dashboard cuts power to the ignition. Someone smashes your window, jams a screwdriver in there. Nothing happens. The van just sits there confused. Motion sensor lights might sound fancy, but we're talking about $10 devices from any hardware store. Someone rocks your van testing the doors. Lights blast on inside. Most people run. Parking strategy matters too. Always nose out. Always. You can see threats approaching through your windshield. You can leave fast if needed. Backing into a spot takes an extra 30 seconds, but those 30 seconds buy you escape options. Dogs deserve mention here. A medium-sized rescue animal provides genuine security and costs nothing from many shelters. Burglars hate dogs, not because dogs attack, but because dogs bark. Noise attracts attention. Attention ruins crimes. And here's the weird part. Keeping your van messy actually helps. A tidy interior suggests valuable stuff inside. Clutter scattered across the dashboard looks like there's nothing worth stealing. Professional van dwellers intentionally leave junk visible. Empty coffee cups, old newspapers, poverty camouflage. Staying legal. Here's the truth nobody tells you. Owning a van outright means nothing if you can't prove it's legal. Current registration and valid insurance can turn a 20-minute police interrogation into a 2-minute conversation. Officers run your plates before they even step out of their cruiser. Clean paperwork signals you're not worth the hassle. Expired tags, that's probable cause to dig deeper into your entire situation. Some cities actually want to help. Safe parking programs exist in dozens of American cities now. These are designated lots where vehicle dwellers can sleep legally. Churches, nonprofits, even some government agencies run them. You get a spot, sometimes access to bathrooms, and zero fear of that 3 a.m. knock. The catch? Most programs have waiting lists longer than a DMV line on Friday afternoon. Then there's the address problem. Banks need one. Employers need one. The government definitely needs one. A physical address isn't optional in modern America. Mail forwarding services like Traveling Mailbox provide an actual street address that satisfies most requirements. Costs about $15 monthly, worth every penny when you need to renew your driver's license. The laws themselves? Absolutely bonkers. One city charges $1,000 fines for sleeping in your vehicle. Drive 15 miles down the road and nobody cares. Los Angeles cracks down hard. San Diego runs safe parking programs. Same state, completely different rules. Online forums become survival tools. Reddit communities and Facebook groups share real-time updates. Which neighborhoods are safe this week? Which cops are ticketing? Which new ordinances just passed? Knowledge keeps you free. The daily routine. Van life has a rhythm, and once you find it, the chaos disappears. Most dwellers wake before dawn, not by choice. The sun heats metal boxes fast, and neighbors start noticing parked vans around 7 a.m. So you're up, you're driving, and you're at a coffee shop before anyone questions why that white van sat there all night. Coffee shops aren't just about caffeine. They're about Wi-Fi, bathrooms, and looking like a normal person who definitely slept in a bed last night. One cup of coffee buys you 2 hours of internet and 0 suspicious glances. Then there's the laundromat ritual. Every few days, you're washing clothes and trading information with other dwellers. Who's cracking down where? Which Walmart kicked someone out? Where the new safe parking lot opened? Maintenance happens weekly. Check the oil, test tire pressure, inspect battery connections. Your van isn't just transportation anymore. It's your bedroom, kitchen, and safety system combined. Breaking. Down means sleeping outside. Nobody skips maintenance twice. Grocery runs happen every 2 or 3 days. No room for bulk buying when your pantry is a milk crate. You buy what fits, you eat what spoils first. Food waste drops to nearly 0. Evenings follow strict timing, park before sunset, cook while there's light. Set up the bed before darkness makes everything harder. Here's what surprised many long-term dwellers. Stress actually decreases after about 90 days. The uncertainty becomes routine. The routine becomes automatic. The automatic becomes comfortable. This is the reality of van living for Black Americans navigating a housing crisis that disproportionately affects our community. It's not romantic. It's not an adventure. It's survival with dignity. The ingenuity required to turn a cargo van into a livable space is remarkable. The resourcefulness, the problem solving, the daily calculations about safety and survival, these aren't skills everyone develops. They're born from necessity. Every technique in this video represents knowledge passed between people whose society has failed. The insulation tricks, the parking strategies, the security measures. This is community wisdom, shared to help others survive. For Black folks specifically, van living carries extra weight. We navigate systems designed to criminalize poverty. We face harassment that others don't experience. We make calculations about safety that shouldn't be necessary, but we also demonstrate resilience that deserves recognition. Turning a $5,000 van into a warm, secure home through creativity and hard work, that's not failure, that's adaptation, that's survival, that's dignity maintained against impossible odds. The next time you see a white cargo van parked at Walmart, remember, that might be someone's entire world inside that metal box. Someone working full-time who still can't afford rent. Someone's grandmother on a fixed income. Someone's family doing everything right in a system that's broken. They're not criminals. They're not lazy. They're survivors. And the techniques they've developed deserve respect, not judgment. This is how Black homeless people turn a van into a comfortable home. Not because they want to, because they have to. And they're doing it with more creativity, resourcefulness, and dignity than most people could imagine.